Thank you. So, we heard a lot about data. We've seen a lot of different trends emerge through the years, but more importantly, through the pandemic period, there's been a lot of change in consumer behavior. So, Spirits Network was born out of the idea that we could actually turn the industry into what Food Network did for culinary, we could do for beverage alcohol. My entire career has been a television producer and a filmmaker and a storyteller, and the power of storytelling has never changed. In fact, it's become more important now than ever. So Spirits Network was born out of the idea that not only could we show and tell, but we could allow consumers to actually purchase what they see from any device, including their television. So for those of you that are fans of the new school or the old school Willy Wonka, you may remember that moment where he pulled the chocolate bar out of the television. And so there was some inspiration behind that. And what we thought was, why not show them how it's made, what's behind it, the stories, the histories, the cultures, because I don't come from the beverage alcohol space, but I can tell you as a consumer, the beverage alcohol space has so many fantastic stories and so many ways to engage customers that they're leaving on the table. So we built this really for the industry, for the community, to have a forum to be able to stream their content and tell their story and sell their product. People in the ad space have called this the holy grail of advertising because it would actually attribute an ad dollar to a sale. It's not quite there to one, but we hope to get it there. And what a lot of people have said is that, if I could tell my story, or if anybody just knew my brand story, it would be so much cooler and so much more amazing. And so here is the opportunity for brands and bars and restaurants to do that. So it's shoppable entertainment, it's direct to consumer. We've been called the fourth tier. We work with all of the door-to-door delivery and last-mile delivery companies, and we're onboarding more. We've also built our own retail network to get the product to consumers. We're doing a lot of drop ship, and we're seeing a lot of consumers engaged in things like cocktail making, especially during the pandemic. I mean, we started about 6 months before the whole world went into lockdown, and we saw, a huge increase in traffic. We saw a huge increase of engagement time. Average time on our sites are 14 minutes. Average cart size is $250. People are coming to us for something specific. We're not quite selling hard seltzer and Tito's at this point. We're selling products that range from that bourbon that you saw in Kentucky that was hard to find, all the way through to Japanese whiskey that's in short supply. But the idea is that we're celebrating the talent, the storytellers, and the industry behind this fantastic experience. So our key touch points in how we do this is a collaboration with industry partners like the major liquor producers and then also emerging brands. We also work with the community. As you saw, there were a lot of tastemakers and people there that you might have seen through the industry that have a voice and a story to tell. But the key, right, with storytelling is really galvanizing the community and bringing that community together in a way where they feel like there's a place for them and that it is constantly staying fresh and relevant as the industry is changing. So, for example, we added wine in the last 8 months. We also added a ready-to-drink category that when we first started wasn't as important, right? But the video commerce aspect of this is really the revolutionary component. Whether you're on your mobile phone or you're on your Apple TV or you're on a desktop, you can watch programming that's 2 minutes long and sometimes as long as 20 minutes, learn and engage and purchase, or just lean back and enjoy. And the key to this, right, is that really getting that liquid to lips, getting people to try the product and really owning the home bar. One of the things we saw with our data this year in particular was that one of the behaviors that really stuck is people making more cocktails at home and wanting to increase and challenge themselves to put different spins on things. Entertaining in small groups, but when they do go out, they get inspired. So a lot of people we've seen take pictures of menus and stuff and then come back and try to figure out where the recipe is. We've seen more searches and more engagement for things like tequila and mezcal, as well as Armagnac and cognac than we've had in the past. So the key, right, is really bringing together the great stories, but also connecting that with data and connecting that to a home delivery. And we believe that not only can we do that in spirits, but that we've proven it with the data that we've seen so far. And in 3 years, we've done a lot, but we're just really scratching the surface. What's interesting is that our audience is 54% female. We've also seen really big market, shifts, but really key markets in New York, Texas, Ohio, Florida, and California. And we've also seen people spending a lot of time with us. 14 minutes in the digital age is a lifetime. So people are spending time, but they're also engaging in purchasing. We've seen people make recurring purchases. The Cardi B audience is a very different audience than the audience searching for Japanese whiskey. However, you'd be surprised at the connectivity between those two demos. There are people that love the Cardi B side and love the whipped cream and the vodka infused factor, but they're also really big whiskey fans, and that happens a lot. But the key, right, is we are an accessible resource, and we continue to distribute this at a global level. So we just started to distribute in the UK. We'll be opening up in the Canadian market as well, and taking on the rest of Europe as it relates to storytelling and home delivery. So now brands can actually think globally and act locally. We can do things in target markets. We can target a specific area. We've had a lot of success with our partners. I think sometimes people look at the quality of our content and what we're doing and say, well, this must be really expensive. I'm not sure I can afford it. The answer is you're probably right. No, I'm just kidding. But the idea is that we are and will and continue to want to tell really great stories. So we do have packages for everybody. We have concepts that start as low as, $10,000 or $15,000, and then we have things that are millions of dollars to produce and scale. We have an exciting new series that we're going to be doing on television around competition with bartenders and mixologists that will also extend to at-home purchases. And our goal really is to be everywhere and to be convenient for the customer, but to let the customer know that we're there to educate and inform, but also to entertain. And I think a lot of times we spend time with these brands and others explaining to them how to not make a long-form commercial. I think people oftentimes get confused that video and content is all about the product benefits and the enhancements, and that's important. But if you do it right and you really tell a story that people care about, they're not only going to engage, but they're going to be more compelled to take action. And so when you look at our audience, we don't just pull from our own universe. One of the things that we encourage our partners to do is stop renting their audience from Facebook and Google and start owning their audience with us. We call this the audience universe because we believe that the audience is sourced from a lot of different places. So whether that's a big, robust email list or that's a huge talent category, I mean, Cardi has over 190 million followers across social. That's obviously a huge audience that can be tapped into. But there's also smaller audiences like the Black Bourbon Society with Samara Rivers that we did a lot of really exciting campaigns around her barrel selects for Maker's Mark, and we actually moved a lot of product. So to give you an example, with Cardi in particular, we did the exclusive drop of whip shots in December, and we sold over 15,000 units, and these were $45 units. I mean, it was $20 for the unit and $25 for shipping because it was an aerosol can, and people still bought it. When we launched this, we were getting millions of hits a day to the site. If I had millions of units to sell, we would have sold them. But the idea is that we were able to create a drop zone concept, which is something that we've used successfully in the past. If you're familiar with the sneaker world, it's the same concept. Limited time sale, exclusive offer, first come, first serve. So every day at noontime, we would literally open the store and we would sell out in a couple of seconds. So that's obviously the best case scenario. And then in other cases, we've actually done things that have been more about the higher end products. So during the pandemic, we actually launched a series called Whiskey Wednesdays that was rooted in the idea that every Wednesday we would review and explore 3 different whiskeys. The average cost of these whiskeys were between $80 and $100, and we sold thousands of bottles to people at home. And on top of that, we scaled this concept to create over 23 original episodes, working with a whole bunch of different brands, including really small emerging brands and then really big global brands. But the idea is that we've driven this through opportunities where brands and on-prem and off-prem can work with us to create really the ultimate experience. Not only do we help you go from screen to table, but we also collect all of the data around that. And what we do with the data, instead of doing things that consumers find evasive, we actually help consumers discover through a curated experience. We call it personalized video or personalized shopping. So when you become a member of Spirits Network, it's free to join. You go to spiritsnetwork.com, you sign up, and once you've signed up, you can fill out a profile, and you can tell us about yourself. If you tell us you like tequila and vanilla, and you like to golf, and you like to fish, we're going to produce and create a profile in our Discover page exactly for you. So you'll see tequila, and you'll see things that taste like vanilla, and you'll see golfing and fishing-related content. The idea now is that I'm not spending 45 minutes searching for stuff, and I'm not spending time where I don't want to spend time. So this is all about helping the customer find a place, but then also convert to a sale and make a product. And then the best part is that once they've made that first purchase, we can re-engage them over and over and over again, instead of going out and reacquiring them, which we see a lot of brands doing with tens of millions of dollars every year, but nobody really has customer lifetime value. So when you find someone that's a new bourbon drinker that might try your product for the first time, and they graduate all the way up to, I have a collection in my basement, there's a lot of touch points to get there. We believe that we have the capability to address that audience along that journey and maybe even help them discover new products that they might not have heard about. And that's also part of this, right, is how do you create multiple touch points between email, push notifications, and video. And then, of course, because we're show people and we like to be big and noisy and jazz hands, we come up with big, crazy ideas, and we produce them to draw the audience in, and then we give them a reason to stay. So we actually have a Bottle of the Month program that's just like mostly monthly programs, where you get a bottle of greater than or equal to value every single month. And as a side note, we're actually launching another network using the same technology out of the data that we had, because we found that almost 80% of our audience like to golf. So we're launching Golf Nation in September of this year, and we brought on Susie Whaley, the former president of the PGA, to run that channel for us. But the idea is that we're using our own data to help inform the programming that we're making and to help brands identify customers. Sometimes brands are surprised at the data that we show them. They didn't realize they had an audience in a particular category or a particular market, but there's a way to engage them. And the nice part about video is that it can show you and tell you and then give you the ability to purchase. So check Spirits Network out, and if you're interested in working with us, please reach out to me directly. But we have a lot of great content, and I know there's a lot of professionals in the room, so I'd be curious on your feedback as well. And if you have ideas, bring those to us too. Thank you so much.